Okay. Alright, the only thing we need to do is two things. Actually, we'll do the first one, that's the most fastest. Optimus, right here, we're gonna just do his eyes. What color is his eyes? I think it's blue. I think. I'm not sure. I don't know. Okay. First, let's focus on the stress part. Comma. What is stressing you out? And how do you think you can go about fixing it? Okay.
Hey guys, it's Paradise, and if huge boss fights, lively player hubs, and a world that's actually worth exploring sounds like your thing, then you're in the right place. In this game, 1 minute you're taking down a massive boss with your squad, and the next you're just chilling by the lake fishing. So this could be the anime MMO we've all been waiting for. You've been able to jump in and get proper hands-on with the game, putting plenty of hours in to see what it's really about. So a huge thanks to the Star Resonance team for sponsoring this one and letting us sink time in so we can break down the features and give you a heads up of what you can do in the game. If you want to jump in for yourself and check out the game, hit the pre-registration link below to grab early access and be one of the first to play. Now let's get into everything we saw and what Star Resonance is. If you're seeing it for the first time, this is Star Resonance, a brand new fantasy MMORPG built for people that want a mix of high-energy combat and slower, more social moments. It's all set in a vibrant anime-inspired world, designed to feel immersive whether you're battling in the dungeons or just hanging out in town. From our time testing, the combat feels fast and fluid, especially if you're into other action games. Some classes even come packed with the good stuff: invincibility frames on dodges, satisfying perfect evades, and bosses that actually keep you on your toes. Outside of the fights, there are life skills that mix things up with mini-games like fishing, crafting, cooking, and gathering. Even from booting the game up and making your first character, you have a ton of options. In the character creator, you can tweak everything from the body type and skin tone to facial details and hairstyles, and every class is available from the start, so you can make your character your own. There's also an awesome video where one of the developers made a character inspired by the lead character in one of the popular anime series, and 2.6 made a character that looks like one of his favorites. Now, because this is a proper MMORPG, social play is a big part of the design. From our hands-on time, we've seen lively player hubs packed with other players, group activities that require teamwork, and dungeons built to be tackled together, which for us is what MMOs are all about. Now, if that sounds good and you're wondering where and when you can play it, well, Star Resonance is currently in beta, but it will be launching globally in 2025 on PC and mobile. During our time testing, most of our time was taken up by grinding out our classes, as we love to level up and get more powerful. I personally picked the Wind Knight, which is an awesome class that focuses on flashy aerial attacks. I was especially surprised by how cool some of the abilities were, especially the ones you unlock later on with jumps, spear throws, and slams. It was a blast. The game has quite a few active abilities you can have, as well as being able to summon NPC creatures and characters to aid you in combat, making it feel like you have a lot of options. Speaking of options, this wasn't the only class we tried. 2.6, being a fan of swords and katanas, well, it meant there was only really one choice for him: the Stormblade. Much like the Wind Knight, it's packed with flashy, satisfying abilities. The core mechanic revolves around chaining basic and special attacks to fill gauges, so you can then unleash huge bursts of damage. And once you unlock the final ability, you even get access to a counter move. Both of the classes felt different from each other, and each class has its own style and skills that you can spec into and build out. Even after picking, if you feel like another class looks better to you or is more your style, you can switch later on and level that up. The classes available on launch are the Heavy Guardian, your classic frontline tank to soak up damage and keep enemies locked on them. The Shield Knight plays a similar role but leans more into self-sustain, and even some DPS if you want to be a more aggressive tank. For damage dealers, the Storm Blade is all about fast, high damage combos, while the Wind Knight uses a polearm with quick, fluid attacks and flashy aerial moves. The Marksman is your ranged precision option, and you can fight alongside a Wolf or Falcon companion for extra damage and mobility. On the magic side, the Frost Mage can play for consistent damage over time or burst damage builds, while the Verdant Oracle mixes nature magic with healing and offensive skills for a hybrid support role. And then there's the Soul Musician, using music-based attacks to buff, heal, and deal damage all at once.
Music-based attacks?
Now, every one of these classes ties into the growth system, which is where the depth comes in. From the ability menu, you can unlock new skills, upgrade your existing ones, and swap abilities around to match your playstyle. And then there's the talent system, letting you spec into different paths, doubling down on damage, leaning into survivability, or focusing on utility and support. You also have the layer of your gear and endgame items that enhance your stats and abilities. Now, the open world in Star Resonance is one of those places where you set out to do one thing and end up getting sidetracked for an hour because of all the cool things to encounter. We were just minding our own business when we stumbled across a world boss hiding in a pack of lower level enemies, and yes, it did absolutely clap us. But if you're actually ready for it, you can track down these elite and rare enemies through the Monster Hunt menu and make a proper hunt out of it. It's not just bosses as well, you can get random events that kick off. 1 minute you're doing a parkour race, and the next you're in a timed challenge with a completely different objective. We had one that sent us into a part of the map we didn't even know existed, and 20 minutes later, we've been on a full-blown underground region quest adventure. The map is pretty sizable too, with plenty of different zones, but even just the city and starting area are packed with things to do. From mini-games to side activities and little distractions. For someone that loves exploring, there is a ton of stuff to do here. Now, exploring the open world isn't just about walking from point A to B.
I wanted to get into this game, but I was not too sure.
Fun. One of the coolest surprises was the wind traversal system, as you don't commonly get fast-paced traversal systems in MMOs. However, you can ride gusts of wind to reach high places, glide across open gaps, and chain it together with jumps or wall climbs to reach certain spots. This is really cool, as some of the side quests and hidden collectibles are tucked away in places you can only reach by using the wind system or parkour system properly. We ended up spending a good chunk of time just seeing where we could go, and more than once it paid off with a hidden location or just a cool view that you would miss if you stuck to the main paths. Then there's this little guy and other wacky mounts with different designs.
Ooh,
and
let's go! What the hell?
They make traversing across the bigger zones
oh my god, what the hell?
slog. For the actual content though, there are structured challenges like dungeons with multiple difficulty settings, and we actually went through a couple of them and they are a blast. Bosses have mechanics that actually make you pay attention, and the scaling difficulty means you can run them casually or really push yourself. But if you want a break from all the fighting, there's plenty of life skills that let you slow down without feeling like you've stopped progressing. We spent time fishing by the lakes, and jumping into botany to gather plants for crafting. Mining is cool too, as you can find ore veins out in the wild, then crack them open for materials that you'll actually use later. The nice thing is, these aren't just like throwaway side activities. The materials you gather feed directly into crafting, upgrades, and even some quests, so there's always a reason to do them. For example, you need to gather materials to unlock the player housing system, which leads us into this next feature. This is one area we didn't expect to sink so much time into. It's the housing system. It's honestly like a cozy game tucked inside of an MMO. After playing a while, you unlock your own private island, and from there it's completely yours to design. You can farm, collect resources, and fully design your house. It's actually crazy how in-depth this goes as well. If you've played MMOs before, you know there's always downtime while you're waiting for your friends to get ready, and having a space you can decorate, customize, and fill with the cool stuff you earn is a perfect way to kill that time. And of course, you can invite your friends over to show it off too. Then there are guilds, which take that idea of having your own space and scaling it up for your whole crew. You can set up a guild hub, upgrade it over time, and even add personal touches. Guilds have their own challenges, giving you access to proper reasons to keep working together beyond just running dungeons. Even in the beta with only 2 of us, it was easy to see how much life this could add in for bigger groups. We also really like that you can add guild pictures onto the wall. Well, that's just a slice of what we got to experience in Blue Protocol Star Resonance, and honestly, it already feels like one of those MMOs with a ton to do between the high energy combat, all of the side activities, and those social features. There's always something pulling you into doing just one more thing before you log off. Now, the game is set for a global launch in 2025 on PC and mobile, and if you're into worlds that mix together intense battles with a ton of ways to relax and hang out, this could be one to watch. And before we wrap up, don't forget to hit the pre-registration link below so you can snag early access and be one of the first to jump in. Here at Artex Gaming, we're 2 friends who love to play games.
I might actually do that. I might actually pre-register. It looks fun. I just hope it's not a big fucking big memory taker. Okay, I don't care about awesome.
So imagine editing a video.
Okay, so what is this? YouTube sneaky AI experiment. Uh-oh.
And uploading it on YouTube, and then realizing that YouTube actually use AI to enhance your video. Here's a video of a cat playing piano, the type of stuff that YouTube was built on, the legendary stuff. And as you can see, the video is being enhanced, and there's like some sort of saturation boost, and it makes everything brighter and look a little bit weird. The piano looks like a little bit robotic, cartoonish now. And this is an example of something that YouTube is starting to do where they're using AI to, quote, enhance videos. So a lot of creators have been noticing something in the recent weeks where they're uploading some of their videos and their video is like low quality, but the platform is making it like super polished when the video is uploaded. People have been describing it to be like plastic. So there's this writer from The Atlantic that spoke with YouTube about what's happening, and YouTube confirmed that it is running an experiment on select YouTube shorts that uses image enhancement technology to sharpen content and traditional machine learning to unblur, denoise, and improve clarity. Now, this does seem like way less of a problematic AI change compared to what YouTube normally does. However, why can't you guys just ask us if we want that instead of just automatically doing it without asking the creator? YouTube didn't even give a clear answer on why they're doing this. I agree with the writer of this article where they're saying like this is not like that huge of a deal, but it's just more so like why would you guys add AI to people's content without even telling them? Like this person said, it's becoming common in the era of synthetic media. Nowadays, we can't even tell what videos are real, fake, what videos have been edited, what videos have not been edited. It's like when you look at footage nowadays, is that shit even real? Did that just come from the camera, or has it been changed or edited 20 times over? Some people suspect that it has to do with creating a more uniform aesthetic across the platform. That's also a good point. I mean, maybe they want YouTube Shorts to have like a specific look to them. So regardless of whatever content you upload, it's going to end up looking the same. So for example, like myself, right? Whenever I make videos or shorts or whatever, I'm not necessarily going for a certain aesthetic. I just press record, put it in Sony Vegas, and just render it out, right?
Everything needs
But there's sometimes where there's YouTubers who are actually trying to get a very specific aesthetic in their videos, like this guy named Mr. Bravo, whose YouTube videos feature an authentic 80s aesthetic achieved by running his videos through a VCR. So he completely repackages the video so it has a certain aesthetic of like, you know, looking more nostalgic, more 80s. So he made a Reddit post about this where he wasn't very happy about this. It said his videos look completely different to what was originally uploaded. A big part of the video's charm is the VHS look and the grainy, washed out video quality. YouTube's filter obscured this labor-intensive quality. Yeah, I would imagine that, you know, running a video through a VCR nowadays would be kind of problematic. It is ridiculous that YouTube can add features like this that completely change the content. Here's his full Reddit post where he's talking about that he noticed after uploading a short on YouTube.
Okay, question. I need to ask you guys something. Those are here right now. Would you want to watch the stream through my VTubing model, or you want to watch it like this through the phone? I'm just very curious. So I'm just asking real quick. Would you guys rather watch the stream like this through my OBS, where you can see it a lot more clearly? You don't have to see it through my screen, through my phone, or do you like the aesthetic with the phone? I'm just very curious. If you guys pick the VTubing model, I'll switch to the VTubing model where you can actually see the background, like you can see the video while I work, and the artwork's at the bottom. The video that we react to is at the top. OBS? Okay, Lars says OBS. Okay. Mike, what you think? You can also vote, bud. You can vote too. This is not just to the... Everyone can vote. I just want to know because I don't know if it's like hard to hear, hard to focus. I think most of you do like it when I stream through the phone, but I think it's only for certain situations. I think you guys might like when I do it at night. OBS might be best. Okay. Well, you can pick your... I'm letting everyone have their personal, like, choice. So it doesn't have to be best. You can pick which one you like the most. Because the one that gets picked the most will stay. That's what I'm trying to figure out. Because I'm like... I noticed that I get a lot of people watching me while I'm doing it through the phone. But I don't know if I get a lot of people watching me while I'm doing it through the OBS. I can't tell. I really can't tell. So I'm just wondering if you guys prefer the phone, or you prefer the OBS with my VTubing model. I don't know if it's too distracting. Maybe it's the VTubing. I don't know what it is, but I just wanna make sure that you guys are getting what you're coming here for. Because like, the art's there. I know most people are into my art one way or another, or like at least if they're not for the art, if they're watching stuff I'm reacting to or giving my opinion or just want to interact, I don't know if the phone aesthetic through the phone is much more fun for them. Maybe it feels more real. It doesn't feel like it's, I don't know, AI or where the fuck. I don't know. I'm just wondering because, hey Cece, are you new here? Have you been in here before? I don't think you've been in here before, have you? I'm just wondering. If you have, I'm debating if I should switch the stream to the OBS or through the phone. So through the phone is like how you guys are watching it right now, or should I put it through the VTubing model, how you guys would see it through the phone like this? I get a lot of people asking me if I remember them, so. Yeah, because I noticed that I get most views when people. Okay, if most people, I don't know. I feel like I get most views when people are watching me through the direct phone because it has that aesthetic. Like it feels like I don't know. For you to have a song request, you have to be a YouTube member, not a subscriber. Are you a YouTube member? Like a paying individual? If you don't know, I can go check. I almost fell because I was focused. I see. Okay, so this will do. I think Mike wants an OBS, Laura wants an OBS, CC hasn't picked yet, so remember me changes and the name, right? All the time. All the time. It's a crazy thing.
It became automatically AI upscaled to the point where a ton of post-processing and weird effects were added that made the video completely different to what was originally uploaded. You can see the side-by-side comparisons compared to what was uploaded and what the original edit looks like. So this is what his original looks like. As you can see, it looks a little bit more older school, a little bit higher saturation, more like that 80s feel to it. And this is what it looks like afterward. I mean, YouTube just completely ruined all the hard work he did, and it just made his video look like any other video. It appears that this feature cannot be disabled, and I haven't found a way to have this feature turned off. It is ridiculous that YouTube can add features like this that completely change the content of what is uploaded to look, quote, more HD, when instead it looks like plastic and might ruin what a creator was originally intending on showing. It's crazy that stuff like this can happen, and if it is happening here, you can bet it is happening to other creators across the platform. And this last part of what he said resonates with me more. So, I've been on YouTube for a very, very long time. As a viewer, I've been on YouTube since 2006, and as an uploader across different channels, I've been on YouTube since 2012. And I say that to say that I've been around for pretty much every single major change that YouTube has made, and I will tell you right now, this one is not that big of a deal in the sense of YouTube, removing dislikes or using AI to make you use ID verification and stuff like that. But it's just one of those things where it's a classic problem with YouTube. Why couldn't you guys inform us that this was happening? And why don't we have an option to turn it off? Why is it just automatically added to people's YouTube shorts and they just can't do anything about it? Now this guy it's almost like he has to change his style of content now because he can't do his usual VCR thing. Instead, it's just going to always look like completely different from what he intended. Here's another example that was on Reddit a few months ago of people noticing maybe there's some sort of AI added onto YouTube Shorts. Here's Hank Green, who's a pretty well-known YouTuber. So as you can see from his YouTube short, it looks completely normal. Looks like he's just filming it off of his phone. And this is what it looked like after he uploaded it. So it does look a lot sharper, and it looks like it's been enhanced in some sort of way. Here's more of a side-by-side comparison that you can see. So this was the original. This was what it looked like after he actually uploaded it. And I know people are going to say, oh, this is normal, processing of a video or whatever. But I mean, at the end of the day, these types of things should be an option to a creator instead of just being the mandatory. So there's another YouTuber named Rhett Scholl who made a video about this last week too, about something that was happening on his YouTube shorts as well. And he believes that AI upscaling is being used, a process that increases an image's resolution and detail, and is concerned about what it could signal to his audience. I think it's going to lead people to think that I am using AI to create my videos or that it's deepfake. And that's another thing, right? A lot of people aren't even going to know that this is a thing because, as usual, YouTube just made the change and they're not even going to announce that they're just doing this whole experiment right now. So, for example, Rhett Scholl, right? This guy, shout out to him. If people are noticing his videos have some sort of AI enhancement to them, they might be thinking, oh, this motherfucker's not even recording real shit. He's just doing AI
Yeah,
stuff.
that's going to be a problem. I'm not going to like that because if I post my video or doing a tutorial or doing a, what do you call it, a time lapse, and they put a fucking AI on top of my time lapse, people are gonna accuse me of using AI. I'm like, no, bro. There's a fucking feature that's on YouTube. That's not me. And some idiots are not going to understand this or get this. And that's where this should be at least axed, at least, or give some form of consent of why, because that can be a problematic, especially if you're an artist. That's going to be an issue. Now, I know it's just a enhancement thing. I get that. But the issue with this is that even though it's just a little tweak that you can turn on and off on YouTube for anyone, some people are that dense that they think the person who uploaded used thing when you're the one turning the thing on. So people are that stupid. Like there are just really stupid people out there. Like they'll make any type of headcanon to like make it as if you did something to them or they have a problem with you. They'll find any reason. And that's something you can't really control, because if someone's crazy, they're crazy. You can't really do much about that. But it's the mitigation that I'm talking about. You can't stop everyone from going crazy or hating you for your work, but you can at least mitigate it. Yeah, I don't like that. That's going to piss me off. Yep. That's going to be an issue, because he said that. I didn't even think of that till he said that. I thought it was just, it's just enhancing. Okay, we all use, like, Instagram, right? And Instagram has those stupid features, like that 4K, 8K type enhancement, which it doesn't do much of anything. It doesn't make any difference if you have a 4K camera or 60 frame per second camera or a 720 type camera. It does not do anything. It just gaslights you to think that you have some type of 4K feature on. It's bullshit. But, like, for you to sit there and say, okay, for them to sit there and just put that feature on, not thinking about the people who don't want to use AI or not really for the AI thing, there's a reason for this. And the art community complains about this enough. So don't just put that there. Like, if you guys are going to put, like, a opt-in, opt-out for us not using your art, you should at least put an opt-in, opt-out, just like Mike said, for if you want, AI enhancements, features for people to turn on, turn off. So at least if someone says, oh, you're using AI, I'm like, bro, we're not using AI. It's fucking opt-in. I got opt-in. There's nothing that I can do about that. That's nothing that has to do with me. Still, they might be still so dense that they don't listen. Yeah, that's not cool.
You know what I mean? So he's shown a few examples on screen here of what a YouTube short...
And the annoying part about this, if YouTube does it, Instagram, TikTok, and every other, social media platform that shares video is going to do the same thing or do something similar. And that's going to cause me more discord.
Normally looks like, and what it looks like after YouTube uses some AI enhancement on it. And again, in this era of deep faking, in this era of completely generated AI content, it's going to look like these videos aren't even real, in the sense of this wasn't an actual thing that happened. Somebody used AI to make this. So it kind of ruins subscriber trust. People are going to be thinking, is this video real? Is it fake? I thought this video was real, but now, look at how sharp this guy's hair looks, and look at how sharp the wrinkles are on his face and stuff like that. And I mean, there's just so many,
right? But, like, the problem with this also is, like, I hate about the AI era is, like, it's not just the AI thing and everything being fake. It's that it's going to cause a straight-up paranoia on virtually everything and anything. Because now you got the question, which is not bad. It's not bad to question things. I'm not saying you shouldn't question things. But there was a level of authenticity to a degree when you watch a video where you can watch something and say, oh, that's funny. That's really funny. I like how that happened because, that's something real to me. And then that's looked like something that will most likely happen. But now you have to watch a video and see, even if it's just like a nothing burger, you got to question, is this real? That's bad. That's really bad when you have to look at a low quality video and think, is this an aesthetic that is real or not? And this is an AI run through AI or something. That is horrible. That's not a world I want to live in. I rather live in a world where everything's like low quality, like in 06, before this whole AI thing, than live in a time where everything's super enhanced and you don't know what the fuck you're looking at, if it's real or not. And you have to question it. That's where this problem is going to be a real issue. And like I said, the government or these tech companies should have been more smarter by giving this shit away. Like, it's gonna be funny because you know how people say they're saying like okay, you know how they're saying like, oh, AI is the future, and if you're an artist, fuck you because like AI is gonna take your job. I'm like, okay, fine, that might be true, but then again, if it becomes more accessible, it's going to be extremely expensive. Like, think that to yourself in this sense. It's cheap now. It will be cheap as ever as possible at the beginning. But as soon as this becomes so prevalent, you don't think these companies like, wow, you guys really use this to the point you have an addiction. How about we charge you every $30 for every time you make a prompt? It's not like we can't do that. Remember, they was trying to do that in the video game industry, saying, or no, no, it's like, yeah, but see, the problem with that is like this. It's only people are saying this with the bravado they do because it's cheap right now. And what companies kind of like these tech companies kind of like figured out, the more you're addicted to using something, the more they're going to they want to make a profit of you. They're not going to make it super expensive like off the jump. They're just going to make it just cheap enough in your head on base price, thinking not much of it to the point that you're going to be spending $30 within every prompt because it's going to start off like in the mobile industry or like how CapCut was. I'll use CapCut for instance. CapCut was super easy to use, super accessible. It had a bunch of features that was be like premium tier. Now since since its like latest update, CapCut is like expensive to a degree where you have to pay for like nearly every feature that was free at the beginning is paid walled some way somehow. Even rendering a video, even rendering a video right now, you can't render more than 3 videos now. You can't render more than 3 videos now without paying. And if they're doing that with your videos that you edited, just imagine what they can do when you prompt them. So if it's like $20 a month for CapCut, why won't they put like $2, $5 a month, or even $10 a month a prompt? Every 10 prompts you make is $10. And then people who are so prompt on, yeah, it's the future, bro. You're just mad because I can put in a prompt and you can't do anything about it. Okay, all right. I had a flat fee of $200, right, for you to get a let me see, like a character design. $200, just flat fee of whatever you want, right? Now you want a character design from the AI. Now the AI is going to make you pay probably $50 every 5 or 3 or 2 render. I mean, every 2 revise. How about that? You every time you revise your character design is $10, $15, $20. Because the more it's being used, they're going to up the price on you. If it's something that doesn't get touched too much, well, it's not going to get really all that focus for them to put money on it. When something is so accessible to the point that people are using it too much, they're going to put a price on it for every usage, not even having it. So it won't be a monthly fee of like, say, $20 a month or $50 a month because you can, and you have unlimited prompting. No, they're going to look at how many times people are prompting, look at an average on how many times they're prompting, and then what they're going to do is work in that average and see what is a good price for every average for the basic user. And they're not talking about someone who's using excessively. They're talking about like the average person, like someone who doesn't use it that much compared to someone who uses it a lot. So that's what's going to happen. And since there's so many people using AI, their sample size is high as shit. So they can just say like probably $30 per 3 prompting, and then for every revise of the prompt, $5 for every, yeah. That's good. Actually, that's good because that puts money in artists' pockets because they're gonna think it like this. If I pay $30 just for a sketch when I could have paid $10 for the sketch, I'm definitely going to the artist. You know what I'm saying? Like, why would I pay $50 for a whole sketch when I can pay probably half of that or less for the upcoming artist that's there, and for a flat fee. They're not gonna keep adding on top of that flat fee. They'll put like $2, $5 extra if they put like a revision of something, but it's not going to be that high compared to like an AI prompt. And nine times out of 10, most time when you're prompting, you're not gonna get the first thing you want on the first try. And I think they're gonna do that on design too. Like, let's put it this way: say you want a prompt of like an anime character you like doing something specific, and since like let me put this, since they'll look at it like, okay, we want to get more money, not even if from usage, we want to make you keep using it and get frustrating using it, but we're gonna do it like in a gotcha sense. So pretty good, pretty good. Hold on, who's oop, sorry. Hold on, let me see. On how I was today. Hey, I've been good, May. I appreciate the nice words. I've been good. We're just talking about the AI problem real quick because AI. Okay, so let me just get you up to speed real quick. So YouTube is pushing a new AI feature for every video, so they can put an enhancement on it. It's not much of a real problem per se if you hear it in that sense. It's just an enhancing video, like sharpening a video. That's not that bad. But the issue with that is like if you're an artist and in the art community, using any form of AI is like almost taboo at this point, especially if you're like a self-made individual who's like using digital products, or using like traditional means, or a case may be, or even time lapses, because now they can fake time lapses these days, which is crazy. But like, the issue that we're having based on this video is that if because some people are really stupid and they think because there's a AI enhancement, they're going to think in their head, because most people don't read the guidelines or don't pay attention to this, because they see the AI filter type cog in the corner in the settings, people are going to assume that the person who uploaded this had AI or used AI. So that's the reason why that's there. So that's where that problem comes in. Oh, I'm just on to someone else that's on Twitch. They was asking a question. Oh, lock me 16. Okay. Wait. Yeah. Yeah, so that's an issue. That's a real problem. And if you're an artist, it's going to put you in a position where people might think you're using AI. Yeah, so what they're going to do, so like the first prompt you're going to put in, it's going to be something so mangled. So they already got like you already used up your free prompt, right? And then you put a second one, you get something semi-decent, right? And then the third time, let me see. Yeah, people are not even reading the title. It's like it's in the settings now. You know, like the cog on YouTube where you want to put like captions, or you want to make the video go like say 4K or something. That's gonna be in there, and people are gonna see that. And some people are not gonna be paying attention to YouTube's new like upgrading policies. They're gonna think that person uploaded a video on YouTube. It's gonna take some time for people to catch on, but most normies who are stupid will not. Who knows that the AI thing is a problem in the art community is going to think that creator uploaded AI with the video that they uploaded, and that's good. And YouTube Shorts. I mean, nothing when AI gets better, right? Some people did explain about it though. No, we're hearing about it now. It's a new feature that's coming. I don't know if it's like there yet, but it's coming on YouTube for YouTube Shorts right now, and eventually we'll go to the other YouTube regular videos. But the issue I'm having with this is that, or what I'm explaining is that what's going to happen. This is going to be a net positive and negative at the same time for both customer and artist, because people who are using AI now. That too. Like people are using AI now. It's at its cheapest because it's still like at its infancy where it's like not there yet, but it's there. Um, so what companies are gonna do? They're gonna make it cheap for you to use or make it almost free to use. And then when people are so addicted to using it, they're gonna up the price almost instantly for every usage you use. So they're not gonna look at like, oh, if $25 a month type thing. They're gonna look at it as like, okay, for every 5 prompts, you have to pay $10, right? And I think by design, they're going to get a bunch of people doing this where they're going to make it into like a gotcha system. So every time you type in a prompt in a specific way, I think the more specific you get, the more it's going to make mistakes on purpose. Yeah, it's like 50-50. You're not wrong. And then like the issue with this is like uh it's going to like they're going to give you like 5 prompts for free, right? And the 3 first prompts are going to be horrible. And the fourth prompt will be semi decent, and then the fifth prompt will be somewhere more closer to what you want. And then from the after the sixth prompt, you have to pay like $25. So sometimes a prompt might take longer than it is, especially if you're not super specific. But I think on purpose they're going to make it like make every prompt like ugly, or they're going to make it very difficult for you to get what you want because the like a hands off or something like that. Correct. And then what's gonna happen is like, let's go, let's go, May. Art power. But what's gonna happen next is like they're going, and then if you get what you want, it's gonna be for every revision now. Like say you just make a prompt. The prompt is what you are. You select that. That's your prompt. But the prompt has a lot of issues like coloring issues. Um, it's gonna have like fingers are not looking right. Certain positions of certain characters that are not looking right or something like that. And then when you want to revise, that's $15 for every 2 revisions or every 3 revisions. So you're going to be paying more out of the wazoo eventually because you're not going to get it. And then what else they're gonna do is this. They may do this where you may not use prompting, right? You may not even use a revision. What you're gonna do is like take a drawing that you already make, which already exists. You take a drawing, you put it through the AI filter, and then it's gonna be more money because you already have what you have in your mind and you're just giving it to them. So it'll be like $50. So you're paying more money or $100, let's say, like $100, because if you have like a whole portrait or a whole drawing, or even the drawing's not even rendered, probably sketched out, and you put it in through an AI thing, it's gonna be like $100 or $200 for it to look what you want, right? And then any revisions from the AI will be like $25. So you paid like $125 or even more just for a sketch that could have been probably fixed within $50. Yeah, they do. But what's going to be a problem where this is going to be a net positive for artists is that they're going to up the price. They're not going to lower it to make it easy. They're going to up the price eventually, and that's how they look at Netflix. Remember when Netflix started? It was literally $5 or $3 a month. I think it was $5 a month when Netflix started. Now we're paying like almost $30 for Netflix. Yeah, I'm saying they're gonna up the price as time goes by, and then people will be like, "Man, fucking AI is too damn expensive. I'm gonna go to the artist that actually is a flat fee. That's way better." So in a weird net reverse positive and negative, where artists will have to wait a certain amount of time for this to get so good to the point that they have to up the price on these people, on the normal the average normie, where artists is going to benefit from this to a degree. As long as they don't like use AI, that might help them too. But if they do use AI, it'll kind of beat the whole purpose. So, and there's gonna be some artists that's still gonna use AI in secret because they don't want to be ostracized or so. So it's a weird pull win and loss at the same time. So that's gonna be a problem.
Telling details. So he was explaining that those are actually real videos. One was uploaded to Instagram and one was uploaded to YouTube. And really the difference is that when they uploaded it to YouTube, it looked different in the sense of the whole imagery being enhanced. And as you can see, this is like the Instagram version of it. And And then this
Yeah,
is the
it's
YouTube
like, yeah, it's like,
version.
yeah,
of it.
it's
And
like
as you
yes
can
and
see,
no.
just like the whole details of like his shirt and stuff like that just completely changed when it's on YouTube. He looks brighter, his skin is like brighter, and it looks like it's
I think
shining
AI
against
is
the light
good
and
and
stuff.
bad.
There's just
Depends
little things like this
if
that
it
people are
ever
going to
gets.
start noticing.
It
And all you
eventually will get regulated, and I think it will get regulated. But I think the reason why it's being slowly regulated is because, um, and I think this is where the whole censorship is coming from. It's because of AI. I don't even think it's because of like the T app or collective shout. I think those are just examples of what's happening. But I think the biggest one is AI because the focus on AI has been like you can take any image and make it into what you want. So this is why. Oh, I'm doing an animatic. I'm finishing up the animatic I've been working on for the last week now. Um, hey Dio. Um, it, it's an animatic that I'm working on for Transformers. It's a Transformers animatic that I'm working on because my mod started a trend and she wanted me to be part of it, so I'm just doing it real quick. We are already at the end. I'm about to finish this up, and then we're going to clean up the mech that I was working on yesterday. And then once we're done with the mech, we're going to do some animation exercises. So, because I need to learn how to do more animation. Because I think that's going to benefit me in the long run.
shorts are going to kind of start looking uniform. And a lot of people have been theorizing that the reason why they're doing this is because they just want all YouTube videos to look a little bit more uniform. Like, make sure that they all look the same. Make sure that you know that you're watching a short on YouTube. Oh, I got to become a subscriber to read the rest of this shit? Well, actually, I don't. Because apparently if you use an archive website and just paste a normal article's link into it, it'll actually show you the whole thing. This is where the original article cuts off when I have to become a subscriber to read it. But here it is completely visible to me right now. I'm not subscribed to that shit. Fuck that. But anyways, like this article is saying, fakery is a widespread concern in the AI era. I mean, we just don't know what videos are real and what's not.
Talking about
YouTube
this,
is going to start adding AI to our own videos that we've made ourselves. People who are going to watch our video, they're not going to think that YouTube did it. They're going to think, oh, this fucking guy is taking some shortcuts here. He's using AI to create his video, and he's trying to pass it off as real. At this point, I don't even blame people for thinking that everything is AI, because it almost seems like everything is AI on the internet nowadays. So here's this full conversation with Google. So this article writer asked him what's going on, and the spokesperson, Allison, said, "We're running an experiment on select YouTube shorts that use image enhancement technology to sharpen content. These enhancements are not done with generative AI." Now, we just have to take their word for it. I mean, I don't know, right? But the article writer was saying that this is a tricky statement because generative AI has no strict technical definition, and image enhancement technology could be anything. So he asked for more details, and then they said that YouTube is using traditional machine learning to unblur, denoise, and improve clarity in videos. Sounds like AI to me, but I mean, I don't know. I'm not a videography expert, so you guys can read into that how you will. But as the article writer confirms, it does sound pretty similar to the process undertaken when generative AI programs create entirely new videos. And it also makes sense on why YouTube would start to employ more AI in these shorts, because they're just launching a bunch of features that allow you to like animate photos and add effects and stuff like that in your shorts. It seems like a lot of those effects are done using AI. YouTube's slogan used to be broadcast yourself, but now it's fucking AI yourself. Yeah, let me know what your guys' thoughts are on the situation in the comments. Like I said, YouTube has made a lot worse changes. This is not necessarily that big of a deal. My only issue with most of YouTube's changes, especially this one, is can you just give us the fucking option to not have this in our content? And for people who do...
there's more people in here. Dio Arts, Abbas, Lara, and Mike. Anyone else that's watching or paying attention. I was thinking about switching the stream to my VTubing model. I don't know if you guys rather watch my VTubing model compared to through the phone, so I don't know if you want to watch. So let me see. Yeah, once it affects like I said this a long time ago. Once it affects someone of power in a way that they don't like, that's when they start doing that. Okay, Lara says, do you guys rather OBS? Would you rather watch the stream through the OBS? Like, this is what you'll be seeing on your phone. Or would you rather just watch it through the literal phone like you're watching it right now? I'm trying to make a debate because I don't know if you guys which one you like the most. I may have to do a poll on this because, like, I can't tell if you guys are actually watching when I'm doing the OBS version or I'm doing through the phone, because I might just stick to OBS. I think it's more convenient. It's easier to see. You have to worry about the fan noise in the background or anything like that. I don't think so. I'm just wondering. Let me see here. Oh, there it is. Can make this a bit bigger. There we go. You'll be watching from YouTube Shorts.
Use this in their content. Can that also be something where we can see that this user has enhanced their video with AI or something like that? Just be transparent with your viewers, man. That's all we really ask. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are on the situation in the comment.
It's like when to touch someone of power. It doesn't have to be a governor. It could be a billionaire. It could be a celebrity of power, and I mean like a celebrity, not just a musician. Someone who's like influential to the point that they are brushing it with like politicians or whatever the case may be. Once that is touched, that's where things will change, whether for the good or for the worse. And this is why I think part of this is coming from like the whole censorship thing. I think the main reason why this is happening is because of the censorship. The censorship thing is happening because of the AI thing. Because I understand what they're coming from with the whole protect kids, but we all know it's not about kids. They're just using it as a vehicle. But like, I understand why that would be an issue, because if someone's like sick and have pictures of children and then put it through AI, you know how that can go, right? Yeah, CapCut is I wouldn't use CapCut either. I would move on to something else, maybe like edit from Instagram, but that's a little bit of a learning curve because it still needs work, but it is what it is.
Please leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it and subscribe for more. See ya.
Okay, get rid of this. Let me see here.
Every time a new Resident Evil...
Let me see. So this is from Endymion. Oh. This is from Endymion. And he's talking about Resident Evil Requiem has a problem. I don't know what the problem is. Maybe it's too realistic, or what it case may be, or it's not really zombie focused. I kind of noticed that with Resident Evil. It's getting less zombie focused and more like cultish, supernatural things happening. There's the edit app, but I think you gotta be selected by Instagram to get to use it. I think it's like CapCut. It's in some ways kind of better than CapCut. I wouldn't say it's way better, but it has some stuff that makes it much easier to just do stuff. But it's not there yet. And it's from Facebook, so it's not like you have to pay for it. So,
Evil game is unveiled, the fans begin to lose their minds in every direction. It doesn't look scary enough, it looks too scary, where are the guns, why are they punching boulders, and of course, what the hell is going on here?
What the hell is going on here?
But with Resident Evil 9, it seems like the fan base, from everything that I've been reading online, is kind of all over the place. The game looks like a return to what made Resident Evil 7 great, but it seems that fans aren't really happy with this direction, claiming that the game is becoming more like Silent Hill and less like Resident Evil. Where are the guns? Where is my trained hero who can handle these sorts of situations protagonists? And the common claim, which is that this new game has already lost the core identity of what makes Resident Evil, well, you know, Resident Evil. So has the game lost its identity? I want to look into that, as well as some more interesting tidbits that I saw and compared as I watched the Gamescom media blowout surrounding Resident Evil 9. To put it plainly, Resident Evil 9, it looks great to me. I think the doubling down on horror is a good idea, since to be honest, that should be what Resident Evil pushes to the forefront, but it seems like there's two camps of fans. You have the original ones, who were accustomed to playing professionals who know how to operate guns and such, taking on ghastly threats. And then you have these new gen fans who likely came into the series from Resident Evil 7, or maybe even Resident Evil 5 onward. This then splits Resident Evil down the middle, because you have to then ask yourself, is Resident Evil a gun-toting good versus evil adventure, or is it a scary, spooky simulator? My answer is actually more with the former. I think Resident Evil is more so what Resi 4 and Resi 3 represent to me. Games where you play these professionals, if you will, who face these unimaginable horrors, but come out the other side to fly away in a helicopter like they usually do, or a jet ski even. But when I looked at Resident Evil 9, I gotta admit, while it did look great, I had...
It says it really started as a bioweapon thing, that the zombie virus was a byproduct of mishandling the virus. It it's kind of stood true until 4 and 7, because those new creatures become folklore, and then Resident Evil is about zombie. Yeah, that's where. Yeah. Mike. No, actually, I think no. You're no. Mike's right. I think what the tone of like Resident Evil from. Yeah, like okay, so this is the it has okay. Resident Evil has two types of shifts. From Resident Evil 1 all the way to 6, things changed almost drastically within probably 5 or 6. And when I say 6, that's the action one with everyone having a different story to that interconnects one way or another. It didn't become even a horror game from that point. It was an action film, action video game at that point. And then they realized that pretty fast on after 6's sales. And then they did a little bit of a, we're going to kind of like sit on it for a little bit for a couple of years and come back to it, which they did. And then Biohazard came out, which is 7, what Mike mentioned. And the tone of that came back in fruition with its fidelity and all that stuff and its graphics and stuff, because I remember playing it and doing the Let's Play way back when on my old channel. And after that, I kind of noticed after Resident Evil Biohazard, it started, like what Mike said, it started falling into these lore-like things, vampires and werewolves and all this crazy shit. Like, okay, I guess Resident Evil with Leon and that whole with Leon and the girl, I forgot her name, was the bit of the shifting tone to to 6, because people like kind of like the action and some horror, but now it went straight action. They realized how that went, and they went back to horror completely. 7, and then now the horror aspect is always is there. The grotesque horror aspects are there, but now it's turning into this weird SPC type thing where, like what Mike said, it's a bunch of like supernatural lore of like vampires, werewolves, cults, and all that stuff, which they kind of had that in the old games, but it was not a prevalent thing. Because they had zombie dogs, they had the Nemesis, they had the zombie dogs, they had all the like the mutations of different like monsters and stuff. I think there was the liquor and all that stuff, but now it's just kind of like turned into this weird, whatever you want to be type thing. I hate AI.
Had some concerns. One thought that came to my head was,
okay, we are now done. I'm actually done. Yeah, it's horrible, but I'm now done, guys. Making the Animatic is done. The Transformer Animatic is actually done. I don't have to do any more with it. It's done. I just have to literally make the inner lines ready to go. I just realized how can't artists draw hands. Why? I said that a long time ago. You know how I started learning hands? I use the reference on my own hands. I stopped using like regular reference. I started using my hands.
I mean, this Grace Ashcroft that we play as is reacting like she's never been in one of these scenarios before, which is fair, because I mean, technically, many of the game's following characters who have also never been in these sorts of situations either. Resident Evil 2, you had Leon and Claire, who, while were gun trained, technically never knew zombies were really even a thing until you played as them. Well, Claire would probably know, I guess, since her brother Chris was at that Spencer mansion beforehand, but you get the point. By the time you get to Resident Evil 4, which I still think is the best game in the series and the most highly replayable, because it's just, like, I love that game so much, dude. Look at it. It's so good. But I do understand that people will look at Resi 4 and go, sure, it's awesome, but was it scary? How can you be scared when you're playing a professional agent guy who gets sent by the government themselves to, find the president's daughter? How can horror be terrifying if you have...
It has, thank you. It has a point system. I don't know, a point system.
Of a shotgun, grenades. or a magnum that can one-shot most enemy types, not to mention RPGs too. But I think what this user said on Twitter conveys what I mean, which is this. The protagonist should not be scared. That's the player's job. Actually, you know what? They're kind of right when I think about it anyways. And also, if you enjoy the content, consider liking the video, leaving a comment, and subscribing to keep up to date on things. Thank you. But sure, other protagonists might get startled or just be outright confused by what's going on in the current situation. But they've never really been scared per se of what's happening around them. Instead, you as the player are, but when you think about it, it's very important that you as the person playing the game still have, regardless of the situation around you, complete and total control over whoever it is that you're playing.
I had to skip the Mecha Knight for later. I'll save him for later because it's not that important. I kind of want to get straight to the animation thing because we really didn't get into that, so I'm going to do that today. I finished the Animatic, so I'm going to be doing some animation studies, or at least some exercises, and see what I can do with it as we're watching.
Playing, so that you as the player can react as you would react and not necessarily how the character would react in that situation. Let me give you an example of what I mean. In the Resi 9 footage, there's a part where Grace is running from the monster, and she's flailing her arm. She's borderline tripping over, and unable to really do what the player would want to do in that situation. Normally, when a monster chases you in these sorts of games, your character doesn't really react to it, because you're supposed to react to it as the player first. But in this moment particularly, Grace has effectively removed the ability for you to react how you would. Instead, she's reacting to what's happening in the game. As this user who posted this said, one noticeable thing in the gameplay, when Grace is scared, she starts tripping while running. This game feels like an immersive experience that I feel panic just watching her in such a vulnerable situation without any resources, just trying to survive. Then people started replying with, I need guns. Where's the shotgun? The sniper? Unpredictable movement mechanics are not good game design. This is not scary. What is this game? Looks like Silent Hill, not Resident Evil. I can keep going, but it's obvious that the way that Resi 9 is going so far, it is people down the middle. But then the more that I look at it, I start to think to myself, is this Resident Evil? I mean, sure.
I mentioned all that already.
By a big monster that looks like my ex-girlfriend, but like besides that, is the fumbling and screaming really something that we need?
That's why I said it's going to be a net positive and net negative at the same time. It's going to be a positive for most artists who are just like doing things digitally or traditionally, because now what's going to happen is that it's going to put money in their pockets, because once it gets too expensive in a long run situation, it's best just to have an artist at hand that you can just pay a flat fee, then pay like $100 every few prompts. It makes no sense, and the prompt is not guaranteed that it's gonna look the way you want. At least with an artist, you can at least explain to them in a way, and then they'll have an idea, and then if they have an idea, they can just check in if this is right or not, and then they can like make whatever adjustments, and it's not even a revision. So it's like that. So it's beneficial if artists play the long game, it will benefit you in one way. If you play a term game, you're going to lose.
In a Resi game, I mean, not even Ethan was freaking out in Resi 7 or even.
So the short game, for those who don't know, if you're trying to like make yourself cheaper because the AI is cheap right now, you're going to not only sell yourself short, people are not going to think the work is good, and then what's going to happen is like, well, you made yourself cheap, yes, but then again, is the quality of your work actually good if you're making yourself cheap, right? And then next, what's going to happen is, well, if you're cheap and I can just get something to a similar price, why pay? You know what I'm saying? And then what's worse, I'm paying cheap, and then you might take forever to get that thing done, depending. Most likely you won't, because that's the whole point why you made it cheap in the first place. But what's next is what's going to happen is like, okay, I paid someone that was much cheaper than the AI. They're going to take probably 3 days at best, or probably this week, to get what I want. And it might be at the quality I want it to be. But they're gonna say, but what's gonna happen is they're going to compare your quality to the time it took. and then they're gonna look at it and be like, "Oh, I could use AI for this." May be true, but then again, it may not look as authentically good compared to like AI. AI is more plasticky, if you get what I'm saying. So, mm,
Grace Girl is. And that dude lost his limbs and then got them sewed back on too. Ethan was like the living embodiment of that "this is fine" meme to a T. So the question then remains, is this Resident Evil then? I mean, I would say that it is. But to be frank, it's not the Resident Evil type I personally enjoy the most. At the end of the day, I'm still more so of a Resi 3 or Resi 4 guy myself. I'm all for the spooky, scary monsters that are all trying to eat me like a Costco hot dog after a workout. But I still think the core element...
If you play it in the long run and just try to keep it afloat, if you try to keep yourself afloat, but you may have to make your whole like art thing into like a side thing for now, it's gonna benefit you in the long run. This might take 5 to 10 years, maybe, or maybe even shorter than that, because given how the advancements of AI will be maybe a couple of years. It may take like 2-3 years at best, max probably 5, I would say. I don't even think it's gonna take 10, because like we was watching Will Smith eating spaghetti no more than like 3 years ago. Now it looks like Will Smith eating spaghetti and looking like old Will Smith, not cucked Will Smith. So I tell you something.
Into what makes Resident Evil what it is that you do have the guns and can defend yourself when the residents, start acting evil. It does seem bizarre because, like that one comment said, this does start to enter into Silent Hill territory a bit. And even when I go look at the new Silent Hill game, which is titled Silent Hill F, I start to wonder, are these franchises in a bit of an identity crisis right now? Because Resi 9 feels more like a weird hybrid from first glance of Resident Evil 7 meets Silent Hill. Whereas Silent Hill is currently getting slammed because the new game has, as you play a small Japanese girl, I guess, who is doing things like Souls-like combat with a stamina bar and everything in a game called Silent Hill. Like, I get wanting to broaden your IP for a wider audience, but there does come a time where the influences and design decisions just start to feel, I don't know, weirdly out of place maybe. Like Silent Hill thinking that it needs to be Dark Souls and not, Silent Hill. Although, clearly for Resident Evil, taking a bit of that Silent Hill DNA has proven to be a good thing. Because back in 2020, Resident Evil 7 became the second highest selling game in this series, just behind Resident Evil 2 Remake. Exact numbers now is that Resident Evil 2 Remake has sold about 15 million units plus, almost 16 million. While Resident Evil 7 has hit 14.7 million units, so yeah, still a major success. And looking at how Resident Evil 7 played, it was absolutely a horror game first and a shooter game second. Personally, the only time I have genuinely felt scared playing a Resident Evil game was probably Resident Evil 7. That forced first-person mode immediately just made everything more immersive.
Yeah, he's not lying. When I played the game the first time, when I used to stream my old account, way back when in like 2013, I think it was in 2013. It was crazy. Like, it was 2014, 2013. It was crazy because, like, that forced perspective where you're not really sure if you're going to make it out alive, especially when you have to fight the father, I forgot his name, with the glasses. And he got into the car and he started driving the car into the garage, which was wild as fuck. One of the most upsetting things to fight. Or when he had the chainsaw. Oh, God.
And things like your wife in the game being infected and trying to turn you into meat was unnerving at first anyways, I gotta admit. But eventually, even your wife being infected is really not that scary, because how she acts is just how my girlfriend acts when she's hungry, so it's just kind of business as usual for me. However, the part of Resident Evil 7 that really spooked me was the part where the mom hunts you. I don't know, man. Something about creepy old ladies just freaks me out. And it probably didn't help that the mom has spider-like qualities to her once she, transforms into her final form in that game too.
Yep.
So I get why Capcom would want to return to that level of horror again, because it sold insanely well. I completely understand why they're doing this. And again, it has already been confirmed that there will be at least 2 playable characters in Resident Evil 9. With the apparent leaks claiming that it's going to be Leon who you'll be playing as well. At the very least, playing Grace Ashcroft will likely be more like the horror of the Resident Evil 7 element side of the game, whereas Leon will obviously harken more so to Resi 4 and such instead. But it is nice that Grace is also a well-designed protagonist. I mean, you can tell that she was created by Japanese artists and not the West because she looks like an actual woman. But my fear is that whenever Capcom has a major success in this series in particular, they tend to feel like they need to pivot or chase trends. After all, that was clearly the trajectory following Resident Evil 4. That game did gangbusters for its time, and then Capcom assumed that everyone just wanted more action and less horror, and we got Resident Evil 5, which upped that action more and more as you played it. Sure, the beginning of Resident Evil 5 felt like it belonged in the series, but by the halfway point, the game started to feel more like a standard...
No, I haven't seen the new Jurassic movie. I'm not a big Jurassic Park fan. I'm not gonna lie to you. I never enjoyed Jurassic Park even as a kid. I didn't care for dinosaurs. I didn't care for Land Before Time. I didn't care for anything dinosaur related or focused. I didn't care for Beast Wars, the Transformers show. Like I didn't care for anything that involves like fucking dinosaurs. I don't know why. I find that boring. I find that not that fun. I just like nah. It just never really, spoke to me. But I heard that unless I haven't seen the movies, I only seen like 3 of them. I'm not saying I haven't seen the movies. I just never really cared for them because they just never interested me in the slightest.
Your third-person shooter that was instead chasing trends instead of, being a scary Resident Evil game, which again was Capcom chasing trends. Since third-person shooters were all the rage around this time before and after. You had Uncharted, Gears of War, Mass Effect, Dark Void, Dark Sector. Remember, those games and much more. Capcom then really dialed it to full throttle with Resident Evil 6, which in my opinion is still the worst mainline Resident Evil game to ever be conceived. I will admit, in hindsight, it's not as bad as I originally thought it was once I replayed it some years ago. But regardless, it was still a game that dialed up the schlock meter way too much and forgot its horror elements almost entirely in favor of just being a Hollywood action movie. It's probably also why I never really liked any of the animated CGI Capcom Resident Evil movies either, because they all just feel more like action movies with zero scares or horror to them. Like looking at this footage from one of the movies, it's just Chris and Leon doing gun fu, like they're Christian Bale in Equilibrium. It's just kind of cringe. This is way too much to the other side of the meter for someone like me.
Yeah,
I think the perfect
balance. Yeah, you never
is...
watch a Resident it's not even the CGI movies. I think the CGI movies are just the aftermath of what happened when they made the live action versions, because the live action versions, it tried to be scary on the first movie, and then after that, it just instantly pivoted to action horror. That's it. After that, it was never scary to begin with. It was just a fucking skin suit for people to watch to say it's Resident Evil, and they sprinkle some like Resident Evil like things in it, but it was not a Resident Evil story from the video games. It just used it as a vehicle to get the point A to point B. Literally, it's nothing about it was like, oh my god, like no, just no.
To just do Resident Evil 4, but instead up the horror elements. It doesn't mean you can't have moments where characters fumble or fall. After all, Resident Evil is known to have parts where you run from unbeatable monsters or crazy things like punching boulders to progress.
Yeah, this was insane. Bro, that's insane. That to this day is still a meme. Like, bro really punched the whole boulder. To this day, that is still funny.
But it's still very important to remember that Resident Evil is a second. You can't exactly feel scared like in Resident Evil 6 if you have a billion guns available with huge amounts of ammo, like in Chris's campaign in that game, where he's literally doing Gears of War stuff as zombies shoot at him for God's sakes from cover. And if I had to guess, Grace Ashcroft will likely be more akin to playing as Ashley in Resident Evil 4 than really anything else. Sure, she'll be integral to the story, absolutely, that's a given, but the more puzzle elements and horror parts will still be more so, probably anyways, tied to her. Since if Leon does end up being the other playable character, it's going to be very hard to be scared of anything while playing as Leon.
What the hell is all this?
Considering how experienced he is when it comes to fighting these kinds of threats already. But another interesting element I saw about Resident Evil 9 while watching was maybe something people hadn't noticed broadly yet, but there's a part in the demo And sorry in advance, but I have to censor the footage, otherwise YouTube will age restrict the bejesus out of me here. But it's the death animation where Grace, if it kills the monster hunting her, just eats her, and immediately the way that this was shot was, and just portrayed in general, and the overall design, it just made me immediately think of a painting. That painting, by the way, is this one right here. In case you don't know, this painting is called Saturn Devouring. Painting, alongside others, are a part of a collection called the Black Paintings. And this series consisted of 14 paintings that Goya did between 1820 and 1823. And the world was never actually meant to know that these even existed. People only found out once Goya gifted his home to his nephew, who then allowed other people to see it. But according to what historians have said about it, Goya became deaf from a fever that he survived years ago, and this would eventually be leading to him being driven mad through isolation in his own home. Okay. He was also a man who witnessed the Spanish Inquisition and the many horrors that bore from that time as well. Okay. And his home was originally having inspiring paintings covering the walls of his home, but he would eventually paint over them with these black paintings to convey his, I guess, deteriorating sense of humanity, if you will. But Saturn Devouring His Son was a painting found to be made by Goya in his own kitchen. Although none of these paintings had actual names or meanings, since Goya never told anyone why or what he meant when he made these pieces, so the name of the painting and the hypothetical reasoning behind it were actually based on theories of those who had witnessed these paintings after Goya had already passed away. But the interpretation of these paintings specifically was that Saturn Devouring His Son was a version that Goya painted based on the depiction of the Greek mythological being known as Kronos. So in Greek mythology, there was a prophecy that was said that Kronos, who was a titan, would be overthrown by his own...
Oh yeah, and he eats his children. I think Kronos is the father of Zeus, if I remember right. Or some shit.
...own children. And in fear of his life, Kronos would devour his own children one by one as they were born by his wife, in order to ensure that this prophecy would never be actualized. This was until his wife actually tricked Kronos and secluded one of Kronos' children from him on the island of Crete.
That's Zeus. That is Zeus. Zeus, I don't know if he eats them or kill them. I think he eats them.
Kronos a stone wrapped in swaddling for Kronos to devour instead, so that he would think that this child would be, gone, obviously, but instead, that child was actually raised in secret. And eventually, that child would grow and become mighty, bearing the name that would strike fear in Kronos' heart, as his name was revealed to be none other than Zeus. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the thunder god, who would eventually rule over Mount Olympia. Eventually, once reaching adulthood, Zeus would reveal himself to Kronos and strike his father down, revealing that the prophecy was true, and Kronos, despite devouring his children, would be defeated by his very own son. Regardless, the entire idea of this whole story was about how this powerful being was terrified of losing its power to his offspring. Now that I've told you all this, I want to show you that footage again of the monster eating Grace, and look at how it eats her. How Grace's arms fall to her side very specifically, the angle in which it's done and depicted. How the monster, crazed and terrified itself, with its long white hair, skin exposed, and a cloth wrapped in its distorted body that is white. It's like an almost one-to-one depiction of the Francisco Goya painting, in my opinion. Maybe I'm crazy, but I haven't been able to shake this imagery from my mind since seeing it. It seems like Capcom is taking inspiration from Francisco Goya's paintings for Resident Evil 9. And this further makes me believe that this monster-hunting Grace is actually none other than her own mother, Alyssa Ashcroft, who we all know is a survivor of Raccoon City and a reporter who has been chasing the Umbrella Corporation ever since. It also helps that this monster chasing Grace has hair very similar in color to Grace's, not to mention the pale white skin. But even the way the creature's eyes look, they convey this feeling of fear, hatred, and also confusion, in a very similar way to how Kronos felt, as he knew that what he was doing to his children was wrong to do. It makes me wonder if more of Goya's paintings will inspire other elements of Resident Evil 9 as well, as many of the black paintings Goya made featured people converging in mass to a specified location, as if something was calling them back there. My mind immediately connects the Goya art to that of how Resident Evil 9 will indeed also take place, at least in some part, in a now destroyed section of Raccoon City. And it's really no shock that Grace, the daughter of a survivor of that very incident, and Leon, who was obviously there as well, allegedly being there, is probably not random and by chance. It's as if something is calling out to these people who were tested in the crucible of Raccoon City to come back for some reason. It's just like those distorted faces that Goya painted, all inexplicably drawn to the horror that they were powerless to now return to. Every piece that Goya painted in his home features distorted human beings, and they're like fearful of something that we could never really understand. Like this one here that's titled Witches' Sabbath, where a covenant of witches all surround in awe of a black-coated, goat-like being. Likely this is Satan himself, all in awe of his alluring power that they all seek to make their own. Honestly, if you're a Resident Evil fan, I would wager looking at these paintings more closely. I'll leave a link in the description box below to where you can all find the black paintings as well as high definition screen captures of each painting along with the names of each painting in sequence too. But I would honestly wager that Saturn devouring his son is absolutely something that did inspire the direction of Resident Evil 9. Which is really cool to see because it's a haunting painting for sure. Circling back to whether the series has lost its identity or not, I would have to say personally, I don't think so. There are two distinct Resident Evil-like experiences, sure. Like I said before, it's the Resi 1 to 4 people, and the other is the Resi 5 to 8 people. Personally, I would rather Resident Evil stay closer to what made 1 through 4 great, and while yes, having a bigger emphasis on horror is a good thing, I do believe that Capcom hopefully does understand that the fear of the game should not be in the character on screen, but the player instead. Because if the player is confident, which many Resident Evil fans are, I mean, just go look up speedruns online of every game available there to prove this, I do think hampering those people's ability to take control of the situation because you want to sell a moment in your game is probably a bad idea personally. And that the further that they go down that route, the more these games will become like a Sony first-party story game than a Resident Evil game. Although, I do really enjoy how they finally now have an explanation for why tyrant enemies can't just enter safe rooms. As in that new demo, it's shown that the monster's skin is actually weak against very bright lights and actually needs to stay in darkness to survive. A simple, but honestly effective way of doing that in-game mechanic with an in-game explanation. But as any article you can read on this game conveys, they all say the same thing, which is that Resident Evil 9 is hitting all the right notes, and will likely be another mega seller for Capcom amidst a sea of great selling games from the publisher already. But I do think from what that demo showed with the lack of control over what Grace is doing during her segment is a bit worrying at first, but with how Capcom has been handling Resident Evil lately from a quality perspective, I do think that there's still not much to worry about. All I can hope is that when they inevitably remake Resident Evil 6, that they just completely gut that game and turn it into something else entirely instead of what it was. And that once Capcom runs out of games to remake, they just remember that Resident Evil is a survival horror and not just a horror game. And hopefully, despite the success, they retain that core identity trait that matters above all else. Resident Evil is not Silent Hill, and that's for a good reason. But either way, I'm still excited to jump into the game when it drops, and it's also a big plus that Koshi Nakanishi, who was the director of Resident Evil 7, is apparently going to be returning to direct this Resident Evil 9, so it's no wonder that the game is looking how it is. It's clearly drawing from that same sense of dread that made Resi 7 so popular and beloved for good reason. As Koshi said himself while making Resident Evil 7, the general consensus from fans of the series is that a Resident Evil game is one that should scare the hell out of you. That was the starting point for Resident Evil 7. He states further, "It was really difficult to figure out what to do after Resident Evil 7, but I found it, and to be honest, it feels substantial. I can't share any details just yet, but I hope you're excited for the day I can." And I think that Resident Evil is honestly in good hands with Koshi at the helm, since when it came to Resident Evil 7, he clearly stated that the big influences behind that game were things like Western horrors, like the Evil Dead series and the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. He also cited that movies like the Blair Witch Project directly influenced Resident Evil 7's vibe and horror feel, and how he wanted to keep that horror mostly to a single location in order to make players terrified and fear for their lives as the Baker family hunted them. Koshi also said that PT, that's the Silent Hills demo, was also a big inspiration for Resi 7 as well. So with this man in charge of Resi 9 now, I don't think the series has lost its identity at all. In fact, I think they found the right identity for Resident Evil as a whole going forward. I guess time will tell, but either way, I'm really excited to play it. But what do you think of Resident Evil 9 so far? Based on what you've seen of this game taking the formula, is it a good way or a bad direction? Do these fans who claim the game has lost its identity, are they valid or are they wrong? And what would you like to see from Resident Evil in the future? I just want more games like Resident Evil 4 myself, but hey, I like the horror elements being up too. Either way, thank you for watching, subscribe to keep up to date, and take care of yourselves, and I'll see you guys next time.
Okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to switch, guys, I'm going to switch you guys out for the OBS version. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna switch everything to the OBS version. I'm gonna switch everything from TikTok, Instagram, maybe Instagram. We'll see. Instagram, TikTok, everything will be on the phone. So I'll be right back. I'm gonna stop the stream. I'm gonna move everything to the phone. So I'll be right back. I'll be back in like 5 minutes or, yeah, 5 minutes. I'll be right back.